So, what was so bad about Canaan? Here's some insight on it, which is very, very interesting. If you read chapter 10 of Genesis, verses 19 through 20, details are available regarding the nationality of the people of Sodom and Gomorrah, and indicates that they were Canaanites. The religion of the Canaanites. Baal was their principal god. Ashtoreth, Baal's wife, their principal goddess. She was a personification of the reproductive principle in nature. Ishtar was her Babylonian name. Astarte, her Greek and Roman name. Balaam, the plural of Baal, were images of Baal. Ashtaroth, the plural of Ashtoreth. Asherah was a sacred pole, cone, stone, or a tree trunk, representing the goddess. Temples of Baal and Ashtoreth were usually together. Priestesses were temple prostitutes. Sodomites were male temple prostitutes. The worship of Baal, Ashtoreth, and other Canaanite gods consisted in the most extravagant orgies. Their temples were centers of vice. I'm going to warn you guys, just brace yourselves. It's going to be pretty hard to believe that this stuff went down, but it's true. Here's some archaeological notes. Canaanite religion. God's express command to Israel was to destroy or drive out the Canaanites in Deuteronomy chapter 7 verses 2 and 3. And Joshua went at that task in dead earnest, God himself helping with mighty miracles. In reality, God did it. In excavations at Gezer, McAllister of the Palestinian Exploration Fund in 1904 to 1909 found in the Canaanite stratum, which had preceded Israelite occupation about 1500 BC, the ruins of a high place. Now, just to let you guys know, you're going to hear about that in the Bible all the time, these high places. Basically, Israel didn't have a temple at that time, and so they used the pagan temples to do their religious worship to God. So, the ruins of a high place, quote unquote, which had been a temple in which they worshipped their god Baal and their goddess Ashtoreth. It was an enclosure 150 by 120 feet, surrounded by a wall open to the sky, where the inhabitants held their religious festivals. Within the walls were 10 rude stone pillars, 5 to 11 feet high, before which the sacrifices were offered. Under the debris in this high place, quote unquote, McAllister found great numbers of jars containing the remains of children who had been sacrificed to Baal. The whole area had proved to be a cemetery for newborn children. Another horrible practice was what they called foundation sacrifices. When a house was to be built, a child would be sacrificed, and his body built into the wall to bring good luck to the rest of the family. Many of these were found in Gezer. I repeat, many of these were found in Gezer. They have been found also in Megiddo, Jericho, and other places. That's a lot of places. Also in this high place, under the rubbish, McAllister found enormous quantities. Yes, it does read enormous. McAllister found enormous quantities of images and plaques of Ashtoreth with rudely exaggerated sex organs designed to foster sensual feelings. So, Canaanites worshipped by immoral indulgence as a religious rite in the presence of their gods, and then by murdering their firstborn children as a sacrifice to these same gods. It seems that in large measure, the land of Canaan had become a sort of Sodom and Gomorrah on a national scale. Do we wonder any longer why God commanded Israel to exterminate the Canaanites? Did a civilization of such abominable filth and brutality against the natural way of humanity in which God created have any right longer to exist? It is one of history's examples of the wrath of God against the wickedness of nations. Archaeologists who dig in the ruins of Canaanite cities wonder that God did not destroy them sooner than he did. God's object in the command to exterminate the Canaanites, besides being a judgment on the Canaanites, was to keep Israel from idolatry and its shameful practices. God was founding the Israelite nation for one grand specific purpose of paving the way for the coming of Christ by establishing in the world the idea that there is one true living God. If Israel fell into idolatry, then there ceased to be any reason for its existence as a nation. As a matter of precaution, it was needful to clean the land of the last vestige of idolatrous worship. In this matter, Joshua gave Israel a good head start. If only Israel had kept it up, what a different story there would have been to tell, and for me to read to you.
Beast? You're here?
Of course I'm here. Our men have surrounded Alamott's palace. The battle is over.